And here we go. We're potting riff tracks.
Rifftrax.
Uh, Today we're doing a very special movie, folks. It starred me, Lash LaRue.
Today we will be covering The Dark Power.
hmm Sorry for that, folks. Have kind of a cold. Yeah, this is the first of two so far, Lash LaRue pictures that they've done. There's this and Alien Outlaw, and not to spoil Alien Outlaw, folks, but doesn't really even use a whip. And then
Oh, that's unfortunate.
it kind of begs the question, what else is he bringing to the table?
He who's tired of his whip is tired of life.
Like him.
Yeah.
That was
But he's
bad.
in the afternoon of his life. He's in the afternoon of his life.
Oh my God, we will get to that. We will get to that. But should I start off in my notes, like what it says?
Let's get rolling.
Okay, the first thing I've written down is bedside crackers.
He had the premium. He had the premium brand.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, the Native American character, Cody, just big fuck off box of crackers next to his bed. I can kind of understand that.
like it's very relatable. I think especially when you're past that afternoon of your life, when you might have crackers on your bed, and maybe have a snack drawer on your nightstand.
Yeah, that's what I
At,
hope to
at
be.
certain
It's what
at
I
certain
hope.
points, a logistic thing.
That's what I hope to have at my deathbed. Crackers and such. So yeah, the character Cody, it starts off with him passing away.
Always a good start. And yeah, we're left with the cryptic word Toltec, as his last will and testament is being recorded by video cameras. I mean,
Yeah, the
I
fact that everyone just watches him die, and it's like, you guys have a snuff film in the canister right now. You realize that?
that's basically what it feels like. It never felt like they were trying to record his last will and testament. It felt like, oh, let's record this guy die. Yeah.
We can sell this to Mondo Connie.
Mm.
What a reference, by the way. So fucking old. I'm referencing Mondo Connie. Uh, but yeah, the opening credits is really noticeable for having two opening credits.
Hmm.
And this is sort of a hallmark in bad movies. When your movie is very shoddily made, maybe you're not watching the whole thing on the editing bay. I don't know. You know, I would do that if I was editing a movie. I do that when I edit movies. But apparently they put in two opening credits and didn't realize it.
No, they did not. But for me, what stands out the most is just our riff for saving the day by mentioning that Toltec's the name of the sled.
You know, the line, the mysterious, you said the mysterious word Toltec. I don't be trying to figure out what this word means. Have you asked a teacher?
Hmm. So, so I
There's,
think the riffs are really doing the heavy lifting with this one
I think so
in
too.
that opening. Because there isn't anything particularly eventful for that first part, um, where we just see them talking over the property now that Cody's passed away. We see, some very interesting caricatures of people. Um, but that's about it. There's just not a whole lot going on until they start setting up their little sorority house. Um, So the riffers are doing the heavy lifting, even citing uh, our protagonist as the Dos Equis most interesting man in the world.
Yeah. The one of the things that kind of struck me after the opening credits, it's a fairly artsy shot. It's a faraway shot of the house, and in the foreground is a telephone pole that has an ad for Sammy and Earl. And the pictures made it look like they were just Tenacious D's understudies,
I
which
completely.
that's a pretty sweet job, though.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see. What does it say in my notes? I can't read that. Um, yeah, there's the Imitation Jaws soundtrack. The
Mhm.
dun dun when they have the perfectly lovable dogs trying to kill the boy. Like he doesn't. They don't seem like they're putting him in any danger. I don't see why Lash had to scare the shit out of them with his whip.
The musical score in this in general just sounds very strange choices. At the end, it sounds more like a I think they describe the antics more like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, bells of the xylophone, like a
Yeah,
Hanna-Barbera cartoon, sneaking around. So it's very off-putting musical cues that don't really seem to match the tone, you know? Just in general, especially when things start actually happening and the dark power is finally revealed,
yeah.
which
The
enjoy, folks. We have two-thirds of the movie to get through before we see the dark power.
hmm indeed. Let's see. Yeah, we're blessed when Sammy and Earl go into uh Cody's house to clean stuff out. We get a wonderful line, and that is, this place looks like a refugee and smells like a fart, which remind me to use more often in my life.
Looks like a refugee, smells like a fart.
And I love how later on, when the girls are talking, it's like, "Oh, you're gonna love my new place. It looks like a refugee and smells like a fart." Like it's the best thing ever.
And then I personally love just how impressed one of the sorority women are, and just saying, "Wow, this is a Rockefeller bath. Rockefeller must have had this bath."
Yeah, it's just a bathtub
I
with
mean,
jets. Yeah, but
yeah, it looks like a more impressive bathtub, but I don't. I think this would be something you'd find in a less impressive environment,
yeah,
which is what we see here.
there is so much overacting in the scene of just overexcitement of a pretty decent house. Like they're talking about it like it's Gormenghast when it's just a nice little house.
hmm Like, no mistaking, it is a very nice house, but then it's also very much littered in all the sorority type staples. You know, where am I going to put my alcohol? Is said.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about how problematic that might be in terms of who says that, but it's just uh, it's just this normal kind of. It's a very spacious house, but it doesn't look anything extraordinarily impressive. It has a nice view. Um, it has all these nice fixtures, but it's not really beaming with that what was it? JP Morgan type flair, as Mike notes.
hmm Yeah, it's I just love how much they overreact. And You said that there's nothing special. I beg to differ. They have a Spuzz McKenzie poster.
Oh, how right you are. They have the Blues Brothers poster. They've got some interesting little wall decor. That's yeah, definitely makes this nice little house look like it should be on some sort of trashy campus.
That's what I love about teenagers and horror movies. You always see a view of the inside of their room, and it dates the movie so badly.
Hmm.
Like the in I think it's Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I want to say. The kids in his room, there's a Kaja Gugu poster on the wall, and I'm like, we know exactly when this took place.
I mean, I think we can judge by our fitness fanatic
Hmm.
and her choice of outfits when this takes place.
Yeah, they people don't remember back in the 80s, women's exercise costumes were skimpy as hell.
Very skimpy, very form-fitting with that huge little cut from the thigh, like
Yeah, the
tracing the entire thigh,
yeah, that
uh, reaching to the hip. So yeah, we got to see one of those, along with our resident creep for the duration of the film.
yeah, he reminded me of how can I describe him? Uh,
Sleazy,
dis
disgusting.
discount Griffin Newman, if that makes sense.
I can kind of see that.
A little bit of Zach Galligan in there too, like face and hair,
Hmm.
especially. But yeah, he's just a stupid character that, as I just pointed out, could have been played by two better actors. Uh, so there is that.
Yeah, that guy, it just seems like such an intrusion on the movie. Just, um, we have this whole Toltec mystery burning in the background, that goes nowhere for most of it. And then we have a sorority. Okay, I can go with that. But then this guy just walks in and just makes it very, very creepy. Um, though not to victim blame, but I think they bring up the fact that uh there's no shower curtains in there. And they should really do that, especially with this creep lying around.
Mhm.
And then they also have an erotic bathtub scene, where we just see one of the sorority women just with the what is
Drinking.
she drinking?
I I I don't know. I think it's like it's Bud. It's Bud because
Yeah,
yeah, he says like, "Oh, I'm in the mood for a skanky rice beer," and I'm like, "Yeah,
yes,
that's Bud."
yeah, skanky rice beer. So yeah, just literally a woman just in the bath with the bud, just kicking back.
Living
Nothing,
her living her best life.
yeah, nothing particularly erotic, but that is it's framed as if it's supposed to be like the erotic highlight of this movie.
It would probably do a lot for Joe Don Baker. Beautiful woman in the tub, beer.
Hmm.
Uh, we
Living
will
a very Mitchell dream there.
we will touch upon Joe Don Baker in one episode. Believe me, there will be a time. But yeah, the big fat guy. I'm sorry, I'm calling him that. That's what the movie thinks of him. Uh,
Hmm.
drops the F slur once, which
Ooh.
people don't people don't tend to remember. The 80s, the 90s, they use that word a lot. The 80s, oh my God. That was like you watch Teen Wolf, and there's a scene where he's coming out as a werewolf to his friend, and
Hmm.
he says the slur, and it like it stops the movie dead because like
Yeah.
it's such a the word is so soured in that
The,
time, which is
and
good,
this is
but you know.
this is such a tangent, but I just want to share this with someone who will listen. But you know, uh one Christmas carol I really enjoy is or a Christmas song is Fairy Tale of New York,
Mhm.
which drops a hard F slur.
You bastard,
And
maggot,
I was
Irish.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I was reading this very recent Batman comic, and uh, Batman goes undercover as his underworld persona matches Malone, and this was written in the 2020s, and it's he's singing Fairy Tale of New York. So canonically, I just want you all to know that Batman has dropped an F slur,
Mhm.
but it's okay. It's his underworld persona. It's okay. It's fine.
That's when there is a song that has like a hard curse word in it, like just something you should not say at all, and somebody starts singing it, it's very much you can see the train coming, but you're stuck on the track, where it's like,
Hmm.
are you gonna say the word? Are you gonna just go, or what's gonna happen? Ah, you said the word. Oh God.
Yeah, it's like when people try to rap along to their favorite rap songs.
Yeah.
Just don't. That's the easy answer. Don't. For obvious reasons. And yeah, honestly, this movie didn't really throw me off with that slur, just because they say some very messed up things towards Indigenous Americans, towards
Black people.
uh uh-huh.
Yeah, oh my. Okay, elephant in the room. The woman that plays Tammy, the black woman, I swear to God, this woman must, like, she should get an Oscar for putting up with all this fucking dialogue.
Hmm.
I would have walked. You know, it's just terrible.
Hmm.
In like, there's kind of no root for it. Like they say, like in the Midwest, but it's like, sorry, it's more of a Southern thing. Like,
Hmm.
and yeah, that is such a weird part in the movie that, good thing that the riffers dig into.
Hmm. Just saying the racism's off the charts, because yeah, they make some very, very harsh comments, and there's even a Confederate flag, notably in one of the not dorm rooms in this little house.
Well,
Um,
that's how you know that the three guys are losers, because they worship past losers, like the Confederates.
Remember, Aqua Teen Hunger Force has been around longer than the Confederacy,
Yep,
so we should all hang up flags of Dana Snyder.
I do that anyways.
I know you do, and that's why I brought it up.
You've seen my house.
Hmm.
But yeah, Lash, Lash, I was looking at old pictures of him, looked a lot like Humphrey Bogart. I'm sure, he did well with the ladies back then. This is him, not yet in, not yet in the afternoon of his life. And he's shown as being like this irresistible sex god,
Hmm.
which that was either a the director is either a guy that really likes Lash LaRue, or the director is Lash LaRue. Those are the only two things that could have happened.
What is it? Especially with just how much he grasped that whip. Whatever dating site that these two met on should be banned immediately, is what Mike says. And Lash is not a bad-looking guy, but he is clearly uh delusional if he's thinking he's in the afternoon of his life.
Yeah, like if I was an older woman around Lash's age, yeah, I'd go for him. But it's like The woman's like 30, like
Yeah, they look very they all tend to look very late 20s.
yeah.
Um they don't I don't think they may be hitting 30. They look a good 30, but they all look late 20s, and yeah, I don't think this woman has any business being with our most interesting man in the world, uh, uh who's in his afternoon of life.
One of my favorite lines from her is, "We have a human interest show on the news. It runs at oddball hours." And they're like, "Yeah, such as 11:69 and Goofy o'clock."
I
Like
think they had
oddball hours, what does that mean?
I don't know what oddball hours might be, but yeah, I assume it's either, these made up numbers or what Fox does before it's gonna cancel your popular show.
Let's see. We have an example of Chekhov's gun, or more appropriately, Chekhov's whip,
Hmm.
because Lash states that the the like shamanic braid that is on the tip of his whip, uh, it says like it protects against evil, and this comes in the very last moment of the film.
Very,
Yeah,
very last.
it's one of those things where it's like if you know your whip can do this, be on the lookout because like shit comes in clusters, you know?
And that's pretty much the last third of this movie. Just shit comes in clusters.
Hmm.
We finally get the payoff of, why the whole Toltec thing's such a big influence here, and spoiler, well, not so much a spoiler. It's just your typical Native American grave site, but with zombies.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, weirdly enough, I feel that Doug Jones might have played like he could have
Oh
hypothetically
God,
have played.
I wish one of these guys had like half of the physical prowess that Doug Jones has.
Yeah, but it feels like early enough in his career that Doug Jones probably could have played a character here, but
And he was
no, no
about
such
this time
luck.
he was cleaning up his Mac Tonight, I think.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that this could have been, but unfortunately we do not. Instead we get the cousins of the Urukai as our native zombies, including the Norman of the native
Yeah.
zombies,
By the way,
who gets.
speaking of Doug Jones, uh ladies and statistically some men, if you ever wanted to see Doug Jones in his underwear, the newly deads, they can be healthy there.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
Yeah, it's weird to see a little bit of a tangent. It's weird to see like a devout Christian in a trauma movie, which is like that means he was really hard up for cash,
Hmm.
but he's cool. Anyways, back to Lash LaRue and the loud fish.
The loudfish.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like they jumping out of the water and like jumping out of the water and splashing down loudly. It kind of makes me think of like a dolphin or whale song, which interestingly
Hmm.
enough, if a blue whale speaks its call in front of you, you'll die.
Hmm.
That's how powerful it is.
The Black Bolt effect.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of mugging with the girls. Just
Hmm.
if you're a fan of if you're a fan of especially eye rolling, there's a lot of it. From
There's one character, yeah.
the character that they refer to as Boozier Sean Young, which is that's a wonderful description.
But yeah, there's also another, or I think we may be thinking of the same character, but just thinking of that one who's just constantly eye rolling, and just seems
Yeah.
like in the background a bit. The brunette woman who's just very vocal without saying a word
Mhm.
for the most part, and then when she is vocal, which is weird because she's probably given the least amount of lines and of all the women in this movie.
And she's the sister of the pervy guy. That's how the
Uh,
pervy guy gets access to the house. And apparently they both had the racist gene because she doesn't like the idea of Tammy staying at the house. Which
and
again, like, why are you bringing this into a monster movie? Like
and then we
there are movies where you can have discussions like this, but not in a monster movie, like not in a zombie movie. Okay, maybe Night of the Living Dead, but aside from that, like, no, like,
I mean, you can do it, but it feels so out of left field, and so pointless. It makes you root for the characters to meet their end. And then this creep, he's like looking at all the women in this sorority type setup, and then it's like, and then there's Tammy, and he's like, yeah, he somehow sees, he doesn't see Tammy as an object for his his general shitty horniness.
which I guess is an advantage for her. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, uh,
Six of one, half
uh,
a dozen of the other.
Flash and Tammy are the best characters.
Yeah,
No doubt.
yeah. Lash, live audio, folks. Lash, my mom and I suspected that he had had a stroke. He did. That's why
Oh,
he's
yeah,
talking, I talk like this,
yeah,
which, you know, it happens to
which is
people.
unfortunate, but it
Yeah.
happens.
There's it's such a good line when it shows the three dorks. They call them Gamergate's founding fathers.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect, no notes.
hmm And yeah, they are definitely underbelly of Reddit kind of creeps.
Yeah, and if you do your research, they're not far off from that description.
What research have you done?
None that I want to talk about.
Ah, let's leave it at that then.
When Sammy and Earl come to the house to fix the toilet, we hear just a good old-fashioned fart out of Sammy.
hmm
And I know it was done in audio, but it's a really good one. Yeah, that's a weird sequence of events because something happens with the toilet, but this is after the exercise girl put the dork's head in the toilet.
Oh, we need to talk
So,
about that scene.
and the whole thing is that they need to fix the toilet, and we get a lot of wonderful lines like, oh, if the girls weren't flushing their unsanitary napkins down the toilet, this wouldn't happen. And to his credit, Sammy has a good retort. He says, well, the only thing unsanitary that was in there is your head. And
hmm
like, that's a decent comeback.
Somehow in a movie like this, he comes out on top. Usually this is a comedy character who's usually gonna be the butt of all the jokes, but no, he gets some good lines in, and yeah, he's definitely one of the better male characters in this, if not better characters in this.
Mhm.
Uh,
Let's see.
Which shows what a high bar we have here.
Yeah. Uh, In my notes, I wrote, uh, Earl's a lovable fatty like me.
Oh,
I
been
embrace
there.
I embrace my
Earl,
weakness.
Earl is lovable. There, yeah, and again, Earl just seems like he's gonna be the stock character, but he's a lot more pleasant than the others who, again, get their heads dunked in the toilet without being held down, by the way.
Yeah,
So
that's weird.
I think he was just into it. Like that's what he wanted.
The the dorky kid that really sticks out to me is the one in the fedora.
Hmm.
He's the way I described him was Ginger Adam Driver. Like, can you
I can
see it a
see,
little?
yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, and yeah, there's you have these three just terrible characters. Like, it's one of those. It's not even like a to use it again, Night of the Living Dead situation where it's like, oh, how will the heroes get out of this? It's like a Friday the 13th, uh, let's see how everyone dies type thing. Like you're
Mhm.
just waiting for something to happen.
And again, it would be Friday the 13th, but it just feels a lot more humorous. And I don't know if that was the intention, but between like the xylophone music and everything, it feels like it's meant to be. It almost feels comic, and I don't feel that's what they were going for. But it is this comedic kind of thing where, you'd expect like someone like Shaggy or someone to approach. Oh, hey, can I get a nice sandwich here? Oh, hey, thanks. What? And just realizing that's this undead zombie kind of thing. That's how it feels, especially since so many of the characters are pretty much unaware until it actually happens. At first these dork boys think that it's just a prank, being pulled by one of them, one of their number, because of course they would
Yeah,
all pull that. And
that's a line I
yeah,
love.
one of them dies immediately and is left for dead, and then the other one just kind of shoves the other out the door before they both come back in. But it shows clear intent so that they do not value each other, and neither does the movie, as they're very quickly dispatched.
Mhm. But jumping ahead just a little, like you said, the, the ginger Adam Driver does get he actually gets a really good kill. And like I know I sound like a Fangoria guy when I say this, like, oh, this movie has some good kills, but this is a good kill. I mean, he first off, he rips his forearm off, doesn't like slice it off, just and
Mhm.
then reaches into his mouth and kind of.
Um,
Do you remember in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey when
Uh-huh.
they reveal their robotness by like
Yeah.
opening up their mouth? That's what happens to him, only it's blood and death. Which,
Yeah, and the cherry on top's the riff that they actually made a 90s movie starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta with this exact plot.
mm, it just reminds me of that line in a much, much better movie, Birds of Prey, with where Ewan McGregor, he plays Black Mask wonderfully, but it's like, you know what? I'm thinking of letting you go. Now stop crying. It's like, okay, I'll stop crying. He's like, is that a snot bubble? Ew, slice their faces off. It's just, he's like such a fucking psychopath.
And then Zaz is just on board for this.
Yeah, totally.
Because of course Zaz would be. And then yeah, I love that moment too. I don't think Black Mask has ever been so hygienic in the past.
Mhm.
I think normally he's enjoyed his sadism, but no, this Black Mask, you know, he doesn't enjoy. He enjoys, he has standards.
Yeah,
Like, sliced off faces, that's cool. But snot bubbles, don't be gross about it. Come on.
yeah. And bringing us back to a much worse movie, but a much better line. Um, I actually like this line uh, in the movie. It's an evil day, which just sounds like a sale that would happen at Regis Bernard's.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that just the day? Isn't that just Black Friday?
Yeah, the evil day sales. Come on down.
Then, yeah, and how that becomes such a plot point that they have to broadcast it so that way Lash gets a heads up that he should probably get that whip and go Simon Belmont on someone.
Mhm. I the dork that isn't the main Zach Galligan guy and isn't the fedora guy. I described him as the thinking man's moron, which I think is appropriate.
Hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, these the Sean Young, the not Sean Young, and the not Zach Galligan. They're the worst siblings ever.
Hmm.
Just I'm including the Lannisters and the Mansons and even the elder gods. They're just the worst siblings ever.
On that note, their maliciousness comes off as more Three Stooges than anything towards each other.
It's so cartoony either way.
Hmm. So yeah, they're not missed.
Yeah, one of the zombies really reminded me of Wile E. Coyote, the one that just keeps getting shot and chopped and shit.
Yeah, the
I
narrator, or not the Norman one. Norman one.
the one I do like that how the zombies kind of act like just dudes on their job.
Hmm.
It's it gives it kind of a Venture Brothers tech kind of angle. Lash finally shows up at the very end and says, "Feel my whip, you son of a bitch," which of course is a John Wayne line. Fill your hand, you son of a bitch. Uh,
Uh,
yeah. So basically, he gets in kind of like a dick measuring contest uh with a zombie who's carrying a whip.
hmm.
Uh, and Lash makes mincemeat out of him.
Hmm.
He plucks off his nose at one point, and not like in the fun little kid way.
Yeah. Got your nose. Hang on, wait. Got your nose. Got your nose.
Mhm. There's this kind of makes me want to watch old Lash LaRue stuff, like Lash in his prime,
Yeah.
just to see what the hubbub was about. And again, we're at the um we're at the very end after Lash has defeated all the bad guys, and he has the big speech where he says like, "Cody, no one knows what happened there. Only you and God." He's like, "I will join you one day, but I'm not yet at the afternoon of my life." Are you Methuselah? What the fuck?
Because just if you haven't seen it, he's clearly older. He clearly has a white beard. Uh he is very much, but well, he's in the afternoon of his life, and let's just take his word for it. Um, but yeah, I think just a few more points that I'd like to touch upon are the little where they keep all the Native American trinkets, these holy objects, but they're basically reduced to trinkets and like basically a glorified closets.
Yeah, the
I kind of
tchotchkes.
so we got that, and then I do like the different Native American zombies. I like the one with the axes, just kind of like they have like a very performative
Yeah.
element to them. That helps kind of distinguish them. We've got our Urukai archer
Mhm.
with us, and I can't really place it, but I just generally like the kind of physical performance they give. They each kind of have a distinctiveness that that we've got the loser one too, who's a loser at work and a loser in the afterlife. Um, so they just have a lot more personality than any of these dorks. Like I couldn't even tell you which one's which, um, just because they were all just so terrible. But I did enjoy the different zombie performances, and again, they get good kills, especially peeling off not Ginger Adam Driver's face there. So I think that was a little something to the credits because it's so hard to pull off characterizing a character that doesn't have any lines, that doesn't really do much of that. So to add that kind of personality and flair, even in a movie like this,
Yeah.
is really welcome.
Yeah, I have such a deep respect for suit performers. Like, I honestly look at them in the same light as like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
And this may not be off base, especially with one stumbling around the kitchen like a drunken college student.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that's some problematic imagery there, but
The
it's still well performed.
He's the crazy Guggenheim of evil Native American zombies.
Mhm.
And yes, I just made a crazy Guggenheim joke. Come the fuck at me. Um, this movie brings out the old person in you. You know what I mean?
Where you're not feeling like you're in the afternoon of your life anymore, are you?
Yeah, you feel you feel older having watched it, which I guess is true. Like
Hmm.
that's how time works.
That is how time works.
But yeah, it's and the thing is, this is the better of the two Lash LaRue movies.
Hmm.
We, and we'll get to Alien Outlaw sometime, but yeah, it's the feeling it's downhill from here. I find is interesting.
For me, we do our own little riffs, and
Mhm.
with this movie, there's enough interesting things going on to make it not feel like such a slog. You've got horrible but interesting to watch characters attached to it,
Yeah,
because we kind of look forward to them just croaking, getting their faces ripped off or shot with an arrow or anything like that. So I don't know, this one wasn't a slog, and even without the riffs, I think this one could hold up if you're bored and want to watch a B movie on Tubi or something like that.
yeah,
Then I can actually see this being a pleasant watch. Just know that it's gonna have a lot of problematic, dated language and ideas. And yeah, just enjoy. All the people who have those problematic ideas are you know snuffed pretty wonderfully. So there's definitely a good sense of karma, which I think I enjoy in horror movies
hmm
when bad things happen to the bad people. And
that's the best in horror movies.
so yeah, that this is definitely one of those, and I can honestly picture someone watching it unriffed and having a decent time with it,
Yeah.
especially with Lash coming in at the last minute with his own lashing.
Hmm. So those are your final thoughts on the movie?
I think so. I think that sums it up.
Yeah, it's a fun bad movie and a pretty good riff. So I think it's a pretty good episode.
Hmm.
And I think that brings us to the end of Potting Rifftrax, the end of this episode. Uh we're starting to do these again, uh just because I want to. And you'll see a lot more of these and you'll see video of it on YouTube. So you get to see two sexy motherfuckers like us.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Anyways, that I think is it for Potting Rifftrax. Now it's time for us to hang out, hanging out,
Hang out,
hanging out
hang
with
out with the
family,
families.
like some
Got some
racist
attractive
siblings,
cousins.
hanging out with some zombie Native Americans. God, all of them are attractive. Da, 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 da. Bye.